5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to make a relatively short speech and say that I'm ashamed of this House today. Mr. Speaker, I have been around for a while. Mr. Speaker, I've been here over many years when members have had a lot of issues, where there have been deaths in families, where there have been serious illness, and where there have been births of children and grandchildren. This House has always been positive. It has always showed compassion. And what has occurred is that there has been some flexibility. I, on a number of occasions, Mr. Speaker, have been called in from the hut in order to vote to let one of my colleagues go. But I also know that there have been occasions when parties in the past have voted down one in order to allow for someone on the other side to attend a family member or a family birth or something similar. In fact, the Muldoon government from 1981 to 1984 only survived because of the integrity of the Labor Party in that time in voting down one. And Jonathan Young's looking at me. He knows that his father stood up for a compassionate and a positive parliament. And to say that as the great-granddaughter of the Labor icon Jeff Hond, or great-grandchild of the Labor icon Jeff Hond, is to be born, that child's grandparent vote in this House is being denied by the National Party because that grandparent, Tūroa Flavel, wants to go to the birth of his granddaughter, I say is very, very low. What sort of workplace are we? What sort of compassion do we have to the people, the members who work here, when they say, choose between your job or your grandchild? Choose between doing your duty here or your grandchild. This place has the flexibility if it wants. Our rules have the flexibility to say, Tūroa, go to where you should be and be with your grandchild because your vote will count here. And what do we have from the National Party? Nothing positive, no compassion, no caring, no wish to make this a positive place at all. Mr. Speaker, the members opposite are catcalling, but I say to them that death and birth and serious illness are the places where we have, as a community in the past, worked together and been positive. We can differ heavily on policy. You know, there's members opposite who I agree with a lot of the time, but much of the time I disagree with. But in the end, compassion and being positive is something that this House should stand for. This is a place where we should show that we care about each other's families, and we do the things which we do the things which are important. It is not the fault of the grandchildren. It is not the fault of the great-grandchild of Jeff Hond. And I just think it is important. Mr. Speaker, I support this bill. I actually support the changes that the National Party made, but they didn't go far enough, Mr. Speaker. I think some of the changes that they made, which were not in our bill, are actually good changes. You know, I agree with them. You know, they were on our list of things to do when I was Minister of Labour. They were part of the next round. But this bill is something which gives something which is more immediate, something which is important and should be supported. And the fact that it goes down, the fact that it does not pass in this House because Louise Upston is so hard that she wants to try and stop a grandfather going to the birth of his grandchild is something I think is shameful. National, be positive, let the vote count.
Mr. Speaker.
Order. I'm calling Denise Roach. 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise